Well, there you are. Again. Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today. So keep on rocking in the Freebird like a crazy train. Hey. Rock and roll. Yeah, we're gonna talk rock and roll today. Rock and roll, bands, all that kind of stuff. So please like, share, subscribe if you want to support the channel. The info's in the description for Zelle. Quite honestly, I don't even know how that works out, and nobody's helped me. So hey, yeah, let's do this. So keep on rocking in the Freebird like a crazy train, huh? What? See? Yeah, bands. I've been in bands since I was like 16. Um, people like certain things. People have their passions. Mine was music and guitars and singing, and I wanted to be in a band. Uh, so I, playing guitar, and then you're teaching your friends, and everybody's going, "Hey, I got a guitar," and I mean, it was kind of humble beginnings. I'm from Smithville, Tennessee, this small town, and I was living there. I was a teenager. Um, I don't even think I was 16 because I think I was 15 my first gig, um, which were a bunch of ragtag friends. We put together a band. We called ourselves Sinister, huh? And we're a cover band. We did like Mr. Crowley and Don't Tell Me You Love Me, and we were doing like Night Ranger covers. If you can, awesome. So my first gig, the first time I ever played live, was at the Dowtown like fairgrounds. And if you knew Dowtown, you'd laugh for 20 minutes if you Dowtown is a little small town. It's like you come down from Smithville and you hit down Watertown, downtown, all that, great times, good people. But yeah, my first gig was actually in a fairground, if you want to call it that. And it was small, but it was like stands. Like people were, granted, it wasn't packed. Um, and we're doing, a Night Ranger. Don't tell me you love me. Just rocking out. I was playing bass. They needed a bass player, so I switched to bass. Um, and quite honestly, I didn't know like most of I would just like, you're 15. Then we got better. You kind of get better, and we started like, rent the VFW hall, just kind of making our own gigs, selling hot dogs, and again, we're teenagers. Um, then after my dad died and I moved to Champaign Urbana, I I was more seasoned than even people that we're in a band. They I don't know. I was just maybe because we're an hour from Nashville, Music City, USA. I grew up more around pickers and banjos and just people that know how to do everything. I've been playing since I was like 8. Seriously since I was like 12. Um, and there was like a at Urbana High. They had like a talent show in like the theater. Urbana High was I wouldn't use it was big. Well, for me, big. It had multiple levels, and they had like a theater in there, and I went and saw these bands, and they were good. Afterwards, pardon me. Afterwards, I went up to both bands, and I was like, "I'm going to be in your band." Like, what? Both bands, yes. I was dead serious too. I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, like no, I've been, I've been in band. Uh huh. I've told this story. So they're like, yeah, we have, and they were go getters. They had rented this uh like garage, like one of those storage units. They have like a storage unit facility. They had rented one of those, and like um so somehow they're like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna audition you uh after school. Okay. What they didn't tell me is they're gonna invite like the whole school. Like when I pull up, uh was I with Scotty Beers? Maybe not. I couldn't even, it was packed. Like, excuse me, like just to get to the, I mean, the people, most of the people outside couldn't even see what was going on. They could hear, and they were kind of cocky. They didn't know who I was, and they're like, okay, right off the bat, immigrant song. Led Zeppelin. So I nailed it, okay. And the other, he stopped, whoa, 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 you're in the band. And then the other band was like, well, no, hold on, because I was going to try. Well, I should have been in both bands. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but I liked both people, or both bands. And so there you go. And then that band was called The Hannibal Electric, something crazy. So we just simplified it to like Electric Elephant. Did that, playing. Then my sister, and I've told this before, but my sister was like a social butterfly, knew everybody, and just, so it was like the goings on at our house, and she knew these people come up, pizza delivery guys. Hey, come on in. Next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, So that, hey, my friends, they're playing at Mabel's. Now Mabel's was like the big club in Champaign. Mabel's, like, yeah, we're too young to get in. Yeah, we'll play. Just honestly, just to get in favor with my sister. See, my sister doesn't get enough credit for hooking bands up and hooking people that are lifelong friends. They met through my sister. Of course, I think I just turned 18, or we were all 17, something like that. But we needed a chaperone, so the drummer's mother and they would let us go in, play the gig, and come out. And then we opened for the Naked Apes. That was our first like club gig, opening for this band. Thank you, Brian, for the Naked Apes. If anybody's watching him, I think his name was Brian. So we Naked Apes, hey, so then we do that, and I remember they were shocked. They're like, "You guys are pretty good." Well, yeah, all we do is rehearse, Come here, my poor dog. I thought I got rid of those fleas, huh? Damn, those fleas. They're tough. So yeah, the Naked Apes, we do that, and then there was a huge like cover band in town called Clockwork Orange, and we then hey, we got asked to open for Clockwork. Yes, because that was like a weekend night, packed. Just then that starts happening. Pardon me. The funny thing is they had like a best band contest or something like that. We got invited to play. We were the first band that day, and they had a panel of judges, of local people in bands and whatever. And we got all zeros. We didn't even get a score. They're like, ha, 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 and I was just like, come on, man, zeros. We got like 4 zeros. Success. Funny thing is, one of the dudes on that panel who gave us a 0, this drummer, I'm not going to name names, but when I left Electric Elephant to start Love Engineer, he joined Electric Elephant and they became like Third Stone. So who's a 0? He goes to 0, then he joined the band basically like later, like a year later. It's a strange, mysterious world, right? And no hard feeling. We laughed about that. We don't care. If I saw him right now, we'd be like, not funny. Then I started Love Engineer, It took me like a year I wasn't gigging. And people thought I was crazy. You quit Electric? What? Like, wow, we got, creative differences. I want to go this way. They want to go that way. I see how. Some of the stuff I was writing was more, it just, it is what it is. It isn't like you're mad about. No, it just, we're still hanging out. Like you just want to do your thing, And then there was like 2 or 3 guys. They were in a band called Ransom, and they had like label interest, but they didn't like the singer. So I think it boiled down to 2 of them, and then they found me. And then we found a bass player, and then boom, off to the races. You start on, you're playing they were used to playing bigger gigs, and we were starting on like Monday nights at Mabel's, like Metal Monday, huh? Our first gig as love engineer, we opened for like a Kiss tribute band that didn't wear makeup. They just played a Kiss song, which I thought was awesome. I'm a huge Kiss fan. Uh, and the singer of that band let us use his father's like business or something out on the outside of town to rehearse when we first got together. I think his name was Joe. Thank you, Joe. If that, and you just kind of this, that, and um, then we just started, putting the hammer down, just starting to get, your groove. You start every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're rehearsing. Of course, I had a notebook out. I had my guitar. I was always writing stuff. Around then is when I learned how to. It's like 91. I learned, how to drop D. It was a 91 because our album came out in like 92, but it had been delayed because of all kinds. I'm gonna get into that, but it came out in 92. I think it should have came out in 91. So this is maybe the beginning. I don't even remember, but yeah, we got good. And I had a CD out. What's when CDs are out? I didn't even own a CD player when my first CD came out. Oh my god, like that was one of the best days. Like I got a CD. How what? You're in the back cover. Oh my gosh. Then I had to go buy a CD, like a boombox with a CD player. Couldn't even listen to my. I couldn't even listen to my own because I didn't have. We all had cassette player. This was when like CDs were just starting to pop off, and believe it or not, CD players, boombox with CD players were kind of expensive. So get a boombox. Hey, then. But yeah, I didn't even have a CD player when my first CD came out, and we started getting like getting reviews in New York and LA, San Francisco, and good times. I don't remember a lot of it. I mean, I remember I was hungover a lot. Packed crowds, covered in beer, getting hit with beers, just crazy shows. We were loud. We were like a loud band, and I did that from like 90. We broke up in like 94, but then we had some gigs because we had management out of Chicago, so they already booked like a 6 months or a year of gigs. So I had to like continue into like 95. And I started concentrating on other things, like my acting. I made a movie. I moved to St. Louis. This is like 94. So 94 to 98, I was living in St. Louis. And I technically was trying to put my first like solo band together. I was playing guitar. I switched playing guitar and singing because I was a lead singer. But then I was like, I'll just play guitar and sing, which is different. I was like, damn, it ain't as easy, and I was collecting gear. I was doing all, keep on rocking to the Freebird like a crazy train kind of thing. And I would go back to Champaign Urbana in my Third Stone, my old band, whatever. I would just jump on stage and do like Backdoor Man by the Doors or Immigrant Song. We knew all these songs. Come on, Charlie. Hey, just hop up. Not even playing. Just I'm going there. Not even. Hey, there you come on, and you just hop up and you do a song. And people are like, oh, you guys must have rehearsed the plan. No, I'm half drunk, and I just jumped up there because by then you've done 1,000 gigs or whatever. Moved to LA in 98. And my first roommate, Steven, we rented a house off of Fountain. Was it Fountain? Yeah. I think it was June Street we lived on. Anyway, I was concentrating on, I'd written some scripts. I'd done like a commercial or two. I'd done some acting, short films, whatever. And but he knew love. He was like, "What? You're Charlie from Love Engineer?" And I was just like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why did you guys break? What happened? You got to start a band." I was like, "No, I'm gonna, And I've told this before. I'm sorry if I'm parroting. Quit Love Engineer, but he put because we started rehearsing. He had some pretty cool gear. His dad had I think he had like a Fender Twin and like a real old school like Memory Man, like one of those like cool pedal, and he was good. He had some cool licks. He'd never really been in a band, he'd never like road dogged or anything. And he put an ad in the recycler. I was like, no, and he looking for, and I was like, fine, okay. We rented this rehearsal hall across from like Hollywood High in Hollywood High School, and looking for I think a bass player. And who shows up but Sean from the Asexuals? He's the first guy to come through. I had been a fan of the Asexuals. I had Asexuals cassettes and I think albums too. And he'd been on like Flipside magazine videos and stuff. They'd done a lot. He walked in. I'm like, what? Huh? And he's like, wait, how do I know you? I'm like, how do I know? What? I was in the Asexuals. Like, yeah, I was a Love Engineer. And we're both like, what happened to you? It's like we're telling the same story. Well, and then he was honest. He's like, look, I'm just here to poach the band. Like, poach the band? I'd never heard that. Like, what do you mean poach the band? Well, yeah, I got gigs coming up. I'm not auditioning for a bass player. I was just going to steal the drummer. And it's like, really? Okay, well, at the time I had this really nice Les Pauls. He was like, oh my, I got to play that Les Paul. And he ended up doing some songs with the drummer. It was just him and the drummer. And, I was like, wow. And he's like, look, right in front of my roommate and this drummer who ended up like this drummer. Anyway, he ended up in the bed. So right in front of, he's like, hey, yeah, you can join my band, Charlie. I've already got a drummer, or I think, and if I had a bass player, you can switch to, and I go, well, looking at my room, and they're like, no, what? I thought, I love the Asexuals and Sean seems so good. We could be playing. He's like, man, in a week I've got gigs booked. Okay. So that was kind of a rub with my room. Like, oh man, I go, well, it's rock and roll. Again, keep on rocking in the Freebird like a crazy train. You just kind of have to. So that the next day I met him at Sean from the Asexuals at the Guitar Center on Sunset, which is huge. It's like the mothership, And I don't know if I brought something to trade, a guitar. I had some money. Anyway, I left there with like a Squire bass, like a Squire P bass, and like a Fender 215 cab. And I don't know where and then we couldn't find a head. Then we went to a pawn, like a music pawn shop. See, back then there was these like pawn shops, but they just specialize in gear, And this dude, Greg Leon, who's like he was in Tommy Lee's first band, like Sweet 19, and in the Crew movie, he's the guy with the blonde hair. Greg he's awesome. He's a cool guy. I think he was in Dokken he's like, oh, and he sold me this Sun Beta lead. Now it's technically a guitar head and it's solid state, but it can do it all. And he gave it to me for like $100. I was like, what? See? There you go. And literally like that was the next day. So here I am. I had a P bass, a cab on wheels, 2 15-inch speakers, big thing, like this 70s Fender. Pardon me. I think it was for a Bassman. It was like a Bassman cab. And this Sun Beta lead. Off to the races. And then I think we were playing like that next week, the Mint, or one of those clubs. And I forget some of the names of the clubs. There was one you literally had to take a ladder to get up on stage or above. I forgot the name of that place. I think it was on Santa Monica. Love playing there. Right off the bat, you're meeting like that night. I met. So we were called Rumblefish. Me and Sean Sutherland. Then there was another Rumblefish. So we got Lamada. And then it turned out Lamada. We said, it's fine, we stuck with. I think it was that first gig. So the kitchen area was where they let the bands, and like Sammy Sirius from the Zeros was back, and I was like, oh my god, I love the Zeros, love Sammy Sirius, and he had a band. I think it was called the Sammy Sirius. Who sold. Oh my God, Sammy's here. And he was like, hey, you're making fun of me. You being, you know, I was like, no, I mean, and who else? Lizzie Gray. He had some band and he was in London with Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue, and he helped write like Public Enemy #1 and cool dude, both those two. Just in the kitchen, this you know, defunct kitchen back at this club. So I was like, this is awesome. Um, I'm playing. There was like 5 bands playing that night, and you get to meet again like these fans. You're like, oh shit, like, uh, good times, good times. Again, keep rocking in the Freebird like a crazy train. You just want to, you know, uh, and then we started doing our thing. We started getting a buzz, and um, we weren't in the best shape. We started partying. This was it. Well, you know, you're invited to all these things, and you're meeting these people, and you know, you tend to drink too much, eating too many Whoppers. We'd go to like there was this like Burger King like stand. It wasn't even a restaurant. You just had it open. I don't know if I've ever seen one like this, but it was on like the corner of Santa Monica and in this courtyard of the grocery store or something. And it was just a stand, you know, Burger King. You get dollar Whoppers, and Sean and I ate. That's all we ate. I mean, it messed us up. We got we literally had like probably to this day it's fucked our stomach up. Because that's all we do. We eat there like 2 or 3 times a day, every day. We just eat a bird, Whopper. That was our kind of hangout. During the day, we let's go, you know, because it was open air. You could see everybody, you know, whatever. We meet people there. Meet us at the Burger King. Like Burger King, yes, we're eating Whoppers. And I remember, and this is no lie, we're going to get another guitarist, and we're talking about it and contemplating it and this and that, and then it boiled down to, do we want to buy another Whopper? Can we afford another Whopper? No. Okay, fine. We're going to stay a 3-piece. It boiled down to Whoppers. Like, we'll just have to find it. Well, he might not. You know, it's a band. You know, you think you're more cosmopolitan and sophisticated. No. It boiled down to like, do we want to get another Whopper? No, so we didn't. Yeah. And we rehearsed with some guy. We tried some. And Sean knew. I mean, he had fans. People were asexual fans. So Sean would be like invited to stuff that I wouldn't, Like he went to like Johnny Ramone's birthday party. Like, why can't I come? You know, shit. Well, they don't know who you are. Well, God granted, I mean, and you might cause a scene. I get that, because back then I would, you know, without even really trying, just I mean, it's all in fun. I'm not gonna, but I was ruckus. I was a wild man, you know, to keep me on a short leash. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times it was funny, but you know, when you're day drinking and just, you know, we were writing good tunes, but great times. Some of the best times of my life for the first couple years in LA. Just and then we record. So we were going to record our demo. Steve Kravac, who had just did like or the couple years, he'd done a Blink-182 album or something. He'd done the last Asexuals album, I think. He was a producer. And we knew this guy named Evan Frankfurt, I think his name was. Cool dude. And he was a producer guy. So he knew this little studio in the Hollywood Hills. And so and Steve Kravac owned Porterhouse Records with Greg Hetson. And I know I sound like I'm name dropping here. You know? Like I kind of am, but it's you know, I'm explaining the story. So Steve Kravac and Greg Hetson owned Porterhouse Records. Now, Greg was in Circle Jerks, Bad Religion, you know, great guy, cool dude. So Steve is going to pay for our demo. 3 songs in what we're just going in there one night. We're going to record them, mix them, done in one night. So we basically played live. uh, and then you overdub the vocals and the guitar, whatever. So we did 3 songs, but that was the first mention or notion of me going solo, because Steve was like, "Well, Charlie is the best singer in the band," because we were sharing vocals, me and Sean, and I was writing my own tunes, and we were doing Sean's songs and some of my songs. I had a song called "Cut a Rug." I was more kind of twangy, and so Steve was like, "We're gonna do one of Charlie's song, "Cut a Rug," then we'll do 2 of yours." And the band, even Sean and I forgot Dave was our. For some reason, they didn't want to. They're like, "No, we want to do this other," and they're like, "Hey, we gotta." So we did my song, and it was Steve and Evan that were like, "Dude, what you should do you really want to be like the bass player in Lamada? You could be like Charlie Greer. Huh? Could I? Should I? Perhaps, maybe." So that kind of put the, not it planted the seed in my head. Like, well, they're kind of right. Like, Sean is known. He's. I don't want to be swimming in his wake. I could. So I left Lamont after our drummer quit. I told about another. We tried to get DH to do some gigs with us, and it just kind of fell apart for me, anyways. They kept on, and I helped them write. I wrote some of the songs for them, but I was like bound and determined to do my own thing, and then I did. Started writing my own stuff, and so my first like real solo, but I was too insecure to use my name, so I was like, I got to come up with it. So I used Darting Ox Cart. So if it's out of print, but Darting Ox Cart Super Deluxe Rock and Roll EP, like 5-song EP. It was released twice, and they only printed, it was a self-released. I used company, but it was like, a co-op where they only pressed like, I don't even know how many, not many. And it's way out of print. I don't even know if I've got a copy. I think I do, but not a seal, maybe. And then after that, pardon me, I was like, you know what? I need to work on my branding. I just need to use, band names are for codependents. I just got to go solo. Charlie Greer, that's it. Because people are like, man, Charlie Greer, that sounds so wrong. But just be Charlie Greer. And I was like, no, I don't. So then it's like, yeah, I released a country EP, which is even, well, kind of not, but that there might have only been like 200 of those. And I think that was like a 5-song EP. And I don't even know if I have a copy of that either. And then I don't even remember. I just know that like my last album that came out in 2008, I used the image in my, the video today, for Turn Me On Dead Man. Charlie Greer, Turn Me On Dead Man. That was my last, because I've retired, I'm in my 50s. And where I got Turn Me On Dead Man, that's like a Beatles reference from the White Album. If you play like Revolution number 9 or whatever backward, turn me on, dead man, turn me on, dead man. I thought, you know what? I will coattail right off the Beatles. I love the Beatles. Turn me on, dead man. There we go. And I got great reviews from that. And I gigged behind it for like 2 years. That's out of print. They're all my band's albums are on print. But I've got copies of that CD, a few. And in between that, 2003, I released a book, Ran of the Madman. You can go to Amazon or Books a Million, whatever it is. Charlie Greer, Ran of the Madman. They've never paid me. It's almost been 20 years. I own the movie rights. I've pitched, almost optioned them, but again, working with me ain't no vacation, because I'm not I got to do my own thing. I'm an artist. I don't like to be around all these meetings and people telling me what to do. No, I can't do it. You think like, oh yeah, let's go to the offices and and brainstorm about what. Are you kidding me? Granted, if I was getting paid a lot, but at the time you're on like a contingency of like, well, maybe we'll, and I got stuff to do. Life to live. again, keep on rocking in the Freebird like a crazy train. That's what I was. I was, and quite honestly, I should have took it more seriously. But that was my kind of, again, I'm an artist, man. I got to be, see, I can't conform to what people think I am. Nuh-uh. Because that's what they're going to do. Oh, well, see, we'll put you in this box. And then you might as well be like a skateboard or a washing machine. They'll talk about you. It's like, well, do I want to? No. And I need a lot of leave alone, man. I'd rather hang out with my dogs and contemplate life. Um, and hang out with friends and, paint and barbecue, what people do. Oh yeah, and I had another thing. I had my scripts. I had a producer, Niles. There was stuff going on. I was busy, go getter. But no, I'm retired now. I've been thinking about playing live. I'd rather just. I got a bunch of tunes I've written. I got like 2 albums worth of songs. But it's like, oh, do I really want to? I'll just like reach out and like write for the bands. That's what I'd like to do. I don't want to be. But I miss playing live. For one reason, it's kind of vain, but I just miss the social life you have when you play live. I thought that I had all these friends, and you quit playing live. No, it messes with your social life. Everything. It's much more funner when you're in a band. If you're not in a band, and then people ask you, "Why didn't you know what happened to your band?" Oh my God. We're gonna start another band. Yeah, or lie about it. Yeah, I'm in a band. Well, we're gonna. But I think I'll be playing solo soon, just like me on stage, just like with a guitar. We shall see. But yeah, I do this every day. I'm ranting like a madman. So please like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, the information is in the description for Zelle. So I'll be back tomorrow. That's right. Ranting, raving like a madman. But I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.